Hey future York students!
I'm Sidel.
And I'm Neetha.
And welcome to the Faculty of Liberal Arts and Professional Studies Program Chat Series.
We want you to know that here in LA&PS, you will study what you love and learn what you need.
In this chat, you'll be hearing from future professors as well as current students about the program.
What it has to offer you, like internship opportunities.
And what your first year in the program may look like.
Alright, should we get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Enjoy, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Liberal Arts Professional Studies Program Chat. Today, we're going to be talking about one of our oldest and most interesting programs, our program in Humanities. Before we start, my name is Adam Duncan. I am going to be your host today. I'm the Recruitment and Liaison Officer, and I'm going to start with an acknowledgement of the lands that we are on. Now, this meeting is virtual, and because of that, we are not all actually gathered on the same space. York's land acknowledgement might not represent the territory that you are currently on. And I would ask that if this is the case, that you each take the responsibility to acknowledge the traditional territory that you are on and its current treaty holders. As a member of the York University community, I recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with the territories upon which York University campuses are located that precede the establishment of York University. York University acknowledges its presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. The area known as Takaranto has been taken care of by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat, and the Métis. It is now home to many Indigenous peoples. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This territory is subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. I'd now like to introduce a special guest who has come to talk a little bit more about the program, the Chair of the Department of Humanities, Professor Alicia Clements. Good afternoon, Professor.
Hello, Adam. Thank you. Thank you for introducing us so beautifully and for having us here in the first place. So I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about our department and what you would learn in a humanities program, as well in our humanities program, I should say, because actually we're quite unique, as well as what sorts of jobs that you might be suited for and some exciting courses that we have. And then our humanities program coordinator, Professor Gail Vanstone, will discuss how we have revamped our core major to add streams and new core courses. Then we'll end with one of our first year experienced professors, Dr. Shama Rangwala, who will tell you some specifics about our newly launched first year core course called Exploring Culture, Narrative, Media, Film, which she teaches. Okay, can we load the slide deck, please? So what do we do? Put succinctly, we explore the many facets of culture. As you'll hear in the list of programs that I'll go through in a moment, our faculty bring together a variety of different disciplines and fields, all under the umbrella of the humanities. The study of the humanities is a place where you can bring together two, even more, disciplines at once. We call this interdisciplinarity, and it's actually our specialty. So this can become a student specialty as well. A student who loves literature and history, for example, can study both simultaneously with this particular major in the humanities and does not have to actually feel compelled to choose between them. In fact, bringing them together can actually be a student's special strength to explore how to use both disciplines to understand a certain time period, for example, or study a particular nation, or examine a particular community. So we're made up of faculty from a variety of disciplines. I'll name a few, and this isn't even exhaustive. Cultural studies, media and communications, history I mentioned, English literature, science and technology, Black Canadian studies, religious studies, childhood studies, East Asian and South Asian cultures, feminist and women's studies, musicology, philosophy, Indigenous studies, etc. Okay, so you can hear lots of different disciplines make up our humanities department. And we house 10 different programs that cohere around these many different academic backgrounds. We have our flagship certificate, one of our flagship certificates, the Black Canadian Studies certificate. This is a growing, it's quite new, but it is growing yearly, very popular. The Children, Childhood and Youth program. This is our biggest program. It's also quite well known and very popular, about 480 students in that program. We have classics and classical studies. We can study ancient Greece and Rome. Indigenous studies, they're new to us actually, and we're very excited and happy to have them. And of course, you look at the experiences of Indigenous communities in Canada and also Indigenous communities around the world. We also have religious studies, and there are a few others, as you can see in the list. But importantly, we also have culture and expression has now merged with our newly revamped core humanities program. So I don't like to say it's gone. It's not gone at all. It's just merged with humanities, and now we are more focused together, I would say. And this core program now is our major, okay? It's called the Humanities program, and it has about 200 students in it. And we've recently reshaped it and are looking to grow our core with 4 streams. The streams represent the various kinds of cultural work that we do and that we want to develop. I'll just mention the titles, and Professor Vanstone will go into more detail on these streams, and you can specialize in one of these streams for your major. We have Power, Diaspora, Race, Arts, Material and Popular Cultures, Digital, Technological, Natural Worlds, Texts, Contexts, Interpretations. And I have a link to the website, and we'll provide that for you in the chat. I do highly recommend that you rummage around on our website and investigate further if any of these pique your interest. So why get a humanities degree, and what will you learn? All sorts of stuff in a phrase. The humanities help us to understand the world, I think, through the studies of histories and cultures and languages. Humanities also foster social justice and equality. They encourage us to think creatively, and they also teach us to weigh evidence and consider more than one side of every question. Really, we do try to unsettle the assumption that there are easy questions and easy answers, or even one right answer to our many important questions about society, politics, community, race, ethnicity, gender, indigeneity, religion, science. You can hear how big this is, etc. So we ask questions such as, how does technology affect what it means to be human? Right, the role of technology technology plays in human life is becoming an increasingly urgent question. Right, big tech companies like Facebook and Twitter are under fire for their role in spreading fake news or misinformation. And then we have potential revolutions in artificial intelligence and gene editing technologies, and these will lead to even more complex questions. Right. The humanities help us to understand the ethical implications of our changing relationship with technology, among other things. So why is it important to learn about other cultures? These are some of the big hit questions that we often talk about. How do stories change over time and across cultures? And how do the humanities help us to imagine the future? I really do believe that to change the future, we need to spend some time reimagining it. Because the humanities stress the importance of original thinking, humanities majors are equipped to help find solutions to the most pressing challenges that we face on a daily basis. This is my belief anyway. We also, for example, we in our courses, try to dig into the bigger questions and bigger issues around thinking through the comprehensive idea of what the humanities is. So you'll find out, or you'll learn in our introductory courses especially, that humanities is an integrated field of study that brings several different disciplines together, such as history, literature, religion, and expressive arts into conversation. You'll understand the ways in which human cultures have developed historically, and also how they continue to develop today and what's happening right now. So we also look at contemporary culture. We challenge assumptions and principles, values, and ideas of the world around you. That you will learn to do this in our courses. And you will also, of course, apply critical reading, thinking, and writing skills to find innovative solutions to problems across a range of issues and social concerns. So for example, you might actually in a course, it wouldn't be uncommon to study ancient Greek epic 1 week in class, the Odyssey, for example, and then the following week be thinking about how your cell phone and access to perpetual information has changed the way that you interact with the world. So these are the sorts of skills that help you to develop career paths. In fact, I would suggest that actually employers, in fact, I know that employers want the skills that humanities students gain. 89% want effective oral and written communication skills, 81% critical thinking and analytical reasoning, and that's really our specialty. 75% want employees to analyze and solve problems, and then also employers want prospective employees to be able to connect choices that they make to ethical decision making. You also, with these skills, will have a variety of possibilities in terms of what kind of job you can go into. And this is just a small sampling of potential jobs that might be of interest. Social media strategist, elementary school teacher, of course. A lot of people who take our childhood youth program go into teaching. You can be a lawyer. You can get a humanities degree and go into law school. Professor, a journalist, podcast producer, I think probably a little more interesting and hip right now, communications manager, cultural consultant. All sorts of things can open up for you when you have what I think is a really wonderful combination in a humanities degree. Okay, and just moving along here, we also have exciting experiential courses. And we have a professor, Dr. Carolyn Steele, who's winner of 2 teaching awards in 2019 to 20, our departmental award, but also the Dean's Award for teaching. She's just terrific. And one of her specialties is experiential courses. And now doing culture, narratives of cultural production is one of our core courses. So at the end of the degree, you can capstone your degree with either her version, the experiential course, or something called thinking culture. But if you're interested in going out into the city, basically, and working with cultural organizations to solve everyday problems and also make exciting future career connections, this is a course and a degree for you. And this is, as I was saying, one of the core courses now. We also offer the interdisciplinary capstone project, which is a course that's university-wide. And Professor Steele also actually teaches in that course. Quite an exciting and fascinating opportunity in that course to meet other people across the university and other professors in different disciplines. So we're quite happy and excited about that class as well. I think that is almost it for me. The last thing I would like to mention is that we have a lovely Humanities Students Association, and they do something quite special, I think. They produce a journal called Culture, What Else? And it's an undergraduate humanities journal. And so it could be quite the opportunity for students, prospective students, if you are interested in writing yourself, or in the other side of the process in editing. So it's a great experience to get to be part of an undergraduate journal, and we offer that at the Humanities Department. Okay, I think that's it for me. I would like to pass it now to Professor Vanstone.
Okay, thanks, Professor Clements. I'm really excited to talk about the new core humanities major that we launched in September of this year. We're excited about it because we think that it captures contemporary issues and concerns for the humanities. So let me explain the requirements. We have 4 new core courses that humanities majors will take. We begin with the first year course, and you'll notice that we start by exploring culture in first year through narrative media, film, And then we moved to the second year, Humanities 2001, Understanding Culture with an emphasis on text, image, music. And then in the third year, we actually have 2 third-year options, and these options lead into fourth-year courses. Now, students may decide that they want to do a 3-year major or a 4th-year major. So if they decide they want to focus on doing culture, as Professor Clements said, doing culture is has an experiential education emphasis. And so in the third year, students would work with the coaching, support, and teaching of Professor Steele to develop a project that they would be interested in working with a cultural producer or cultural organizer. It could be a local gallery. I know of students who have worked with the music industry to develop a project. And then in the fourth year, those students would actually get to work with that organization and implement their program. And what this does is it gives students real world skills that they can put on their resume. And so they may develop interests, so they want to go on to graduate school, or they may in fact want to enter into the workforce with valuable experience. Humanities 4208 Thinking Culture is a course that focuses on critical issues, skills, and approaches for humanities majors. And we sometimes think of this as the Great Books course. And so at the third year level, you would be looking at some of these, and then in the fourth year, going into a more in-depth process. And of course, what we do with fourth year courses is we groom students with skills that will make them prepared for professional programs and graduate studies, should they wish. With the new core major, we have 18 shared core credits for all majors, core courses at the first and second year level, and 1 capstone course in either third or fourth year. So then we have a new option. As Professor Clements mentioned, we have 4 streams. And so students can either choose to specialize in one of those streams, or if they wish, they can take a more generalist approach and pick and choose courses from each of the 4. So this is a degree that is very, you're able to adapt it to your specific interests. Let me talk a little bit about the streams. The first one is Power, Diaspora, Race. The second, Arts, Material and Popular Cultures. The third, Digital, Technological, Natural Worlds. And the fourth, Texts, Contexts, Interpretations. You'll see that I have a website in this slide. And if you follow that to the Humanities website, you can actually check individual courses that are associated with each of the 4 streams. But let me just quickly describe them. Stream 1 is a Power, Diaspora, Race, is really interested in studying the cultural impact of conquest, colonization, and other forms of systemic oppression, and think about the effects of the legacy of that domination as it appears in history, philosophy, literature, artistic expression, and to also develop a dialogue of resistance. Then stream 2, arts, material, and popular cultures, is this is actually the stream where many of the courses from the former Culture and Expression program live. And so in this stream, we're interested in exploring the dynamic relationships between the creative human imagination and the diverse cultural settings that ignite it. So we might focus on historical or contemporary themes and ask how they are reflected through cultural forms such as cinema, music, literary studies, youth studies, theater, visual arts, electronic, and other media. We also study some cultural theory so that we develop analytic tools so that we can analyze expressions of culture as they appear. Then the third stream is digital, technological, and natural worlds. And this is a stream that considers our increasingly mediated worlds. So we're looking at new technologies, scientific concepts, digital, and thinking about how digital media has changed our perceptions and understandings of natural and human worlds. So this area will contain approaches such as technological and digital humanities, environmental humanities, science and technology studies, medical humanities, and sound studies. And so this is an exciting area of studies that will allow students to critically examine the entanglements of knowledge of nature with technological tools and media across a diversity of cultural and historic settings. And then finally is the fourth stream, texts, contexts, and interpretations. And as I said, this is where students will learn to expand their appreciation and critique of great books. We'll look at major texts, oral and written, produced in diverse historical and cultural contexts. Students who focus in this area will learn multiple ways that these texts have been received, reproduced, and interpretation. And so students will be encouraged to interrogate and challenge the idea of authority and canon, and to understand the interpretive contexts that grant certain texts a central role in the formation of cultural identities, histories, and politics, and how to think in a variety of ways to question these works. All right, so I am going to stop and turn my remarks over to Professor Shama Rangwala, who is the course director of our new core course, 1781. And Professor Rangwala, I'll let you explain your approach.
Hi, everyone. I'm Professor Shama Rangwala. I teach the Intro Humanities Majors course, and I'm here to talk a bit about why humanities now. The last couple of years, it's been inescapable that we're living through multiple and entangled crises such as climate, COVID, and austerity. And these crises have thrown into relief our deep interconnectedness. Studying humanities can not only help us understand this interconnectedness and these entanglements, but can also help us imagine new and more just ways of being in relation together. Humanities is all about historical and structural conditions and gives us the critical and analytical tools to contextualize the everyday. In my Humanities Introduction course, we examine the changing relationships among culture, society, history, politics, and technology via an interdisciplinary approach that draws from the study of a wide variety of cultural objects. So culture comes in many different forms, not just the kind of high culture of the symphony or literary canon, though we do talk about that, but also in the everyday, language, ritual, food, etc. Culture is also a site of contested meaning. The meaning of cultural objects is not fixed. Culture is the terrain where dominance is enforced, but also, and crucially, where resistance can happen. In this course, we look at canonical texts such as Shakespeare and Melville, alongside video games and documentaries, music videos, and graphic novels. To bring in different perspectives, we have a number of visitors, including a scholar from Tunisia to talk about feminism and imperialism, a national best-selling author to talk about Black activism in Toronto, an editor from Canadaland to talk about reporting on Indigenous issues, and others. In addition to critical papers and a research paper, students write blog posts on any kind of cultural object of their choosing. So this could be, a TV show they're binge watching, a game they're playing, a movie they've watched, or even something happening in their community. And students also have a creative project, and this is really a fun part of the course, where they take this project up in all kinds of exciting ways. So I've seen students make zines on, something that's really important to them, maybe a social justice issue. They've done podcast episodes, written short stories, written songs, and I've even had recorded interpretive dance for this creative project. So it's really, the students' opportunity to produce some kind of cultural object themselves. The humanities is interested in what happens when we think critically, indeed, when we read the world around us as it emerges in books, TV shows, films, languages, philosophies, music, performance, video games, social media, and other cultural forms. You really see we have a lot of different kinds of texts that we look at. The humanities allows us to go beyond ourselves and our necessarily limited experiences and see through different perspectives. And these critical reading practices have the potential to transform us as individuals and the communities from which we emerge. So I'm a big believer in the study of humanities as being crucial to understanding really everything, because it's all about our perspectives and getting different perspectives. And so I hope y'all can get as excited about humanities as I am.
Hope you enjoyed the program chat, everyone.
If you have any questions about our LA&PS programs, be sure to visit our website to learn more.
And make sure to stay in touch with us for a chance to win a $100 gift card at the York Bookstore. The link to our website is in the description box below.
You can also send your questions to us, the LA&PS student recruitment team.
We'd love to hear from you, so send us an email at goyork@yorku.ca.
And we look forward to seeing you all on campus next year.
Bye.
Bye.